So to join us here with a little in-depth discussion about the spring game, we're joined by Gary Paskowitz, publisher at WeRSC.com. Thanks for joining us, Gary.
Glad to be here, Evan. Thanks for having me.
So I want to start first with the wide receiver position. We know Juju Smith had a great year last year, but some new names coming to the table, especially a guy like Stephen Mitchell. What have you seen from him in spring practice?
I think Stephen Mitchell is who you have to start with if you're talking the receiver spot. So dynamic and explosive, and that's really what we hoped he was going to be when he came out of Alamany. He got hurt before his freshman year, and it's kind of taken a while to get back to close to 100%. But I think what you're starting to see is the formation of a duo with him and Juju. And when you look back to when Sark was here before, you had Mike Williams, Kerry Colbert, Dwayne Jarrett, Steve Smith, and you're kind of seeing the development of that again, and that could be real big for Trojan fans if that happens.
So in the spring game, it's a little different than a typical game, right? You got 100 plays, a little more of a pace to it. Who are some players you're looking for in this Saturday's contest?
I think the two we just mentioned, you're going to see some Juju Smith, you're going to see some Stephen Mitchell. I also think, how much are we going to see of Adoree on the offensive side of the ball? Sarkisian said yesterday, I know what the fans want to see. They want to see him with the ball in his hands, and so I think we will see that. But I think at the quarterback spot, we know we're going to have Cody Kessler, but how much do we see Max Brown? Because that's one guy who, Cody gets so much attention, but Max has steadily been being a terrific player in practice, and so we'll see him. And then on defense, I think people are going to really like what they see, particularly from the secondary, much improved from last year.
So that position group in general, you see Sua move to linebacker, but a fresh faces at safety. What's been impressive about you with those new guys looking there?
I would say John Plattenberg first. I think he's the guy as a true sophomore has really kind of taken a leadership role. And then they moved Chris Hawkins back from corner. And you've had a real good competition between Leon McQuay, who does look better, and then Hawkins has been pretty physical. So I think that little three-man rotation right there in the safety has probably been position-wise the biggest surprise of spring.
So we talk about the leaders lost, the Hayes Pillards of the world, the Nelson Aguilars, the Leonard Williams. What do you think about some of the new leaders? Look at Sua Cravens, Cody Kessler, developing as maybe more captains or just leadership guys in this team?
I think Sua is definitely a guy you start with. I thought he was the most solid player on defense this spring. Finally seeing that adjustment being made to linebackers. When you think about it, he was moved to linebacker from safety right when the season was starting. So there wasn't a lot of practice time to get adjusted. Now he looks so much more comfortable in that role, getting into the backfield and making plays. And he said with a big smile on his face, I finally get this position now because I'm close to the line and I like making plays, and that's what I could do. So I really like that. And then you talk about right next to him with Hayes Pillard being gone, seeing what Lamar Dawson has done to be that senior leader, that's been really impressive.
Yeah, Trojan fans forget he started his first 2 years, gets hurt, now comes back. I am curious though, from your perspective, looking at Sark in year 2 versus Sark in year 1, you mentioned that players are more comfortable. They understand what the system's like. What does that mean when you have a full year under Sark as opposed to just coming in the first time in January?
I think as much as anything for the players, it means you're not thinking as much about the transition, about the changes in the playbook. And once you're more comfortable with everything, it allows you to play faster. And I think that's one thing we've seen, Evan, this spring. Things look crisper in the practices. They look like everything is flowing more naturally, particularly on offense. This offense is going to be a big step up from last year. And when you look at what they accomplished with such a young offensive line, the numbers they put up, the fact that things could be better is very exciting.
So with that group, we know Cody Kessler returns, had a great season, not making turnovers last year to a good degree. Coming into this season, I know fans have big expectations for him. What should people honestly expect from Kessler and company?
I think when you talk about a fifth-year senior quarterback, I think that's such a big thing when you look at the history of the conference and how many teams are winning it with that veteran quarterback. That's really exciting when you think of what Cody can be. He looks so comfortable out there right now. He threw the deep ball yesterday more than we have seen before. I don't think that would call that his strength, but he's more of a game manager. When you look at all the weapons that he's going to have around him, I think just making good decisions and getting rid of the ball, and Sark says he wants to just trust his instincts a little more. When you see something right away, go ahead and trust that it's there and make the play.
So I know you were a fan of Coach Hubbs and company with the baseball squad.
Right.
You and Dan go back in college. Seeing what you've seen from that team this year, the top 10 squad now, what do you think about the baseball squad and just their development this year?
I love the fact that it looks like they're playing Trojan baseball. There's a little spirit to them. There's some hustle. What I love as much as anything, though, Evan, is pitching. I think that's a big thing in college baseball right now, and that's Dan's specialty. But when you have good pitching, you can go a long way in this sport. And they go several guys deep at that spot. So I'm excited about what this future holds for this team.
Yeah, and plenty of excitement on the football squad, too. That all gets set on Saturday for the big spring game. Gary, we want to thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.